Welcome back to Học Tiếng Anh với Joseph, where we build our vocabulary and practice pronunciation through reading. Today we will read number 7, the story about circulation of the blood in The Cat in the Box. And the hero is William Harvey. Circulation of the blood. Even after the publication of the Fabrica in the second half of the 16th century and early in the 17th century, there was still strong opposition to the idea that classical teachers such as Galen could be wrong. So, although the English physician William Harvey was born in 1578 and studied the circulation of the blood in the early decades of the 17th century, he did not publish his discoveries until 1628, by which time he had gathered overwhelming weight of evidence to support his ideas. He did, however, gave lectures on his work in 1616. The result was a book, De Motu Cordis et Sanguinis in Animalibus, on the motion of the heart and blood in animals, known as the Motu, which presented an open and shut case based on series of genuinely scientific experiments carried out over the previous 2 decades. All this was done in Harvey's spare time as a successful physician who had studied in Cambridge and Padua, and like William Gilbert, became in 1618 one of the court physicians to James I, and later personal physician, a much more important post, to Charles I. Both Williams were contemporaries of another William, Shakespeare, who died in 1616. Before Gilbert, following the teaching of Galen, it was thought that veins and arteries carried 2 different kinds of blood. One kind, supposedly manufactured in the liver, was thought to be carried through the veins to nourish the tissues of the body, getting used up in the process and being replaced by new blood from the liver. The other kind of blood was thought to be carried in the arteries, conveying a mysterious vital spirit from the lungs to the tissues of the body. As with Gilbert, the way in which Harvey worked and presented his results was as important as the discoveries themselves. He did not base his ideas on abstract philosophizing, but on direct measurements and observations. The key insight came when he measured the capacity of the heart and, by taking a typical pulse rate, worked out how much blood it was pumping each minute. He found that in modern units, a human heart pumps about 3.66 cubic inches or 60 cubic centimeter with each beat, adding up to nearly 70 gallons or 26 liters in an hour. That much blood would weigh 3 times as much as a human. So it was clearly impossible that it was all being manufactured in the liver or anywhere else every hour. The only alternative was that there was a lot less blood and that it was continuously circulating around the body, out from the heart through the arteries and back through the veins. An equivalent system circulates blood between the lungs and the heart, carrying not vital spirit but oxygen. All this was borne out by Harvey's observations of the tiny valves in veins, discovered by one of Harvey's teachers in Padua, Hieronymus Fabricius, that allowed venous blood to flow towards the heart but not away from it. Having reached this conclusion by observation, Harvey then established his case with a series of experiments, one of which stands out for its simplicity and clarity. If he were right, there must be a connection between arteries and veins. As arteries lie deeper below the surface of the skin than veins, he tested this by tying a cord, ligature, around his own arm, tight enough for it to cut off the flow of blood in his veins, but not in his arteries. As blood continued to flow from the arteries into the blocked-off veins, the veins behind the ligature swelled up dramatically. He also pointed out that arteries near the heart are thicker than those far away from it because they have to be strong in order to cope with the powerful pumping action of the heart. There were still elements of mysticism in Harvey's thinking, and he saw the heart as not merely a pump, but a place where the blood was made perfect by the foundation of life and author of all. It was René Descartes who took the next step, drawing on Harvey's work, and said in 1637 that the heart is just simply a mechanical pump. Although his book caused great interest in England, Harvey's idea about the circulation of the blood were not fully accepted during his lifetime, except by pioneers such as Descartes. One reason was that bloodletting was then and would long remain a treatment for illness, and the rationale for such treatment would be undermined if there was a limited amount of blood in the body. Harvey died in 1657, and soon afterward, the development of the microscope made it possible to see the tiny connections between veins and arteries, establishing once and for all that Harvey had been correct. To the vocabulary, there is not too much for this particular story. Circulate, circulation, circulating. Tuần hoàn. Veins and arteries, veins, arteries. Nourish, nourishment, nourish, nourishment. Convey, conveying, conveyor. Alternative or alternate, alternating, alternative. Well, I hope you have enjoyed the story about how William Harvey studied and understood the circulation of the blood, or our blood circulation system. And it is important that every time somebody discovers something, it makes the world a better place. We understand things more. So, thank you for your time again, and I'll see you in the next story. Bye for now.